Greetings, everybody. Rodamon here. Thanks for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included. So last episode, we made some tweaks to our oxygen and hydrogen intakes. And I would like to make some additional changes. So one is from Nate. Nate mentioned it would be in my best interest for me to use ceramic insulated piping. And I'll explain why in just a second. Oh, a new achievement. We got the not okay, but pretty cool. K being Kelvin there. Cooling something down to 6 Kelvin. Nice. Very, very frosty. I'm actually not sure what got cooled down that much, but cool. So the suggested change was that I use insulated pipes so that the steam doesn't dump their heat into the hydrogen. And that's fine, I guess. So I'll be making that change. Another thing I want to do is to store coal and ceramic in here so that we can make more ceramic. And then I'm also going to be replacing the vent here for a high pressure gas vent, because I did notice something that was going on. Our base is filling up. It's like full of hydrogen right now and has no more space, so it is dumping a bunch of hydrogen where it does not belong. And I would like to fix that. The building attunement clearly is a bug, and you know what? I'm gonna fight bugs with fire. I'm just gonna stick a, I'm just gonna stick a thermium robominer here and be like, all right, you want to entomb me? That's fine. That's fine. I will win this fight. I can guarantee it. So we're going to get a high-pressure gas vent here, and then I've allowed them to put in a little bit more hydrogen into the top area here, just to use up some hydrogen that I felt like I needed to use. Another thing I wanted to do is I'm going to have a high-pressure gas vent here, and I think it's worth putting more hydrogen in here to absorb, you know, to have more volume. Another thing I know that I needed to do is change this sensor over to Hope, because if it was detecting meteor showers, it would open my doors when the meteor showers hit. That would be extraordinarily bad. And, well, let's not do that. So that's a fair bit of changes. Another thing, who mentioned, oh boy, I forgot who mentioned this on the YouTube comments, so I apologize. Sometimes I write them down, sometimes I don't. When I don't, I feel dumb for not doing it. Maybe I could look it up while I play, but if this ice melts, all of this oxygen and other gases will start flooding out of my base into where I want it to be vacuumed, so I will work to get that fixed. Nice. So we do have some of the kilns going. It's only a priority 7. But that should give us more ceramic for the plumbing that needs to run to the ships. Let's do a little face change. We're still not really using the hydrogen as fast as I would like, but that's it will come. All right, so we're replacing this with ceramic. I'm curious if I have enough ceramic to lay out the other pipes. Mayhaps. And that should be a positive change. What that will allow is the steam will stay pretty hot going through the steam turbines. The hydrogen will be able to get cooled down, which is the real benefit. All right, so now that we have a high-pressure gas vent here, I'm actually going to emergency sweep, I think, this stuff out so that we can start producing... Oh, you know... Is there... Okay, so as far as I can tell right now, there is no... There's no oxygen in there. Okay, that's great. Automation. Let's do signal switches for these doors rather than locks. It's just going to be a little bit easier because the locking them down requires someone to deliver or someone to run up, not deliver, but run up and manually lock it, and that kind of sucks. So let's let her rip. Letting her rip meaning we are letting mass amounts of hydrogen go into the cooling chamber. And chilling it so it becomes a liquid. Very, very exciting. A part of me is wondering whether I should replace these with thermium gas pumps. And no, I kind of like the Weezewort setups. Because then, if I did thermium, what would end up happening is I would just have a lot of heat in here. It's possible to actually put all of my Weezeworts in the, in this area here and chill it here. I don't know. Centralizing it, I'll have to think about that. It's probably not something worth really doing, if I'm going to be honest, but that might be a more efficient way of going about it if I was to ever change it at some point. All right, so a lot of my hydrogen is now pumping into this room here. It went from 7 kilograms per meter or square, whatever unit of measurement it is, I don't even know. Now up to 14, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up. The reason why I'm adding all that is because I would like to recapture this hydrogen up here. This stuff and this stuff, but then I would need a place to put it. Because, you know, if I didn't start using the hydrogen, we wouldn't really have a place to place it. This is going to look messy until it's done. There we go. We'll do construction 8. It's not super high priority, but it would be nice to sort of recapture some of the gases that have leaked out. So now we are pushing a lot. Oh, crud. Oh, you know, I don't actually want... No, I guess it's fine to have the signal switches. But yeah, we're going to be putting a lot of throughput of hydrogen into, and oxygen for that matter, in through the liquefiers. We should see the temperature of the hydrogen lowering now that it's ceramic piping, ceramic insulated piping, and taking a look at the mineral overlay, as you can see, it is all ceramic now. Good. Now, I know it doesn't look like I have any liquid hydrogen here. It's because I'm introducing so much new gas that it's heating up what liquid was there, and turning it, you know, turning it from liquid to gas again, given the additional heat. And then accidentally, due to the signal switch forcing that door open, we have released a little bit of hydrogen out now. So where we previously had that oxygen leak, now we have a hydrogen leak and an oxygen leak. As long as these doors stay shut, it will be fine. I'm just going to have to be careful about that. I don't think a signal switch was the right way to do it. Or I should say, it was definitely the wrong way to do it. But what is done is done. So I'm going to leave the launch bay here. But I will want to break down my old launch craft. So I want to break all this down, which will require me to add a little bit more ladders here and there. So this will be a construction 9. So if I ever want another launch tube, I have it accessible. But I doubt I'll use it. Oh, there we go. Now it's starting to build up to a liquid. Look at all that. All that ice. We have 3 forms. There's gas, there's liquid, there's ice. Doesn't know what it's doing. Once there's a high volume of liquid, though, it won't constantly turn to ice. It will stay more predictably liquid. It's just a matter of volume. Okay, is this almost pressurized? All right, I'm gonna actually disable this now. We're using too much hydrogen in that area. So we'll turn that off. I'm just going to keep cranking out the ceramic everywhere I can, because we're going to need a whole lot of ceramic pipes in order to run our new space program. So we'll just keep making the ceramic. Once the nullifying room no longer accepts hydrogen, which is true now, we should see this pipe here will back up on hydrogen, and then we won't be splitting 50-50 hydrogen at this junction here, and more hydrogen will be traveling to my base. So these pumps are sort of removing the cloud of hydrogen that is here and putting it back into storage. Guess one pump is fine. Well, now there's not much for me to do but to wait for my liquid quantities to build up to a point where I have enough fuel for a spaceflight. That is sort of it at this point. So let's go ahead and clean up our space docks and sweep stuff up, and you know, just keep it nice and tidy. Yeah, the auto miner's removing that like bugged the bugged annoyance. I guess what I could do in the meantime while I wait for my liquid fuel to build up is to mess with the magma tube to start actually introducing magma into it. I wanted to wait until this was all vacuum. And as you can see, it's not quite vacuum yet. It's getting pretty close. But we're still at milligrams, not micrograms. So it is going to take a little bit longer. In fact, it wouldn't be a terrible idea for me to put like one more pump here and speed up the process ever so slightly. So I will do that. Because once I start messing with magma, these pipes here are going to get really destroyed. I mean, they're obsidian, so they're not going to get destroyed, but the high-pressure gas vents and stuff will definitely get messed with. For sure. For sure. But yeah, let's start messing with the magma tube so you can see what I had in mind. This was supposed to be, and still will be, somewhat of the grand finale. I will go to the Terra, but I do for unknown reasons want to move stuff to the magma tube. All right, so for this to work, what I need to do is to start sweeping this regolith and mafic, probably just the regolith for starters, into a conveyor rail that drops it into the magma tube. And that was always sort of the idea. So we'll start to get those rails built. But I have a lot of regolith. I mean, how many... I don't even know how to measure how many tons of regolith I have. It says I have 7,000 tons of regolith, something like that. It is a ridiculous amount. Alright, so now, full tilt, hydrogen and oxygen running into there. As you can see, our pool of oxygen and hydrogen is increasing. These pumps have done a wonderful job of removing the excess hydrogen that leaked out. And I can retire them now. I'll be retiring it in just a sec. And that worked faster than I thought it would. Yeah, that looks great. Fantastic. And done. The natural gas is so much hotter than the hydrogen. I mean, it makes sense. The natural gas doesn't go through wheeze-warts or anything like that. It just gets pumped straight there. The hydrogen in this area is reasonably temperatured. 70 C. As you can see here, the window tiles are sort of all equally the same temperature. But it's keeping the hydrogen a reasonable temp, so it is doing exactly what I want. If I really, really, really wanted these window tiles to chill, I would lower them down to the liquid level, and they would get chilled quickly. But I don't really need to produce that much cold for the steam turbines. It's not necessary. The leak of hydrogen there is fixing itself. The addition of another pump is getting underway. It's pretty close to being done. But none of the rails have been built, which is fine. They'll get to it. How much ceramic have I been making? Okay, so there's a few tons of ceramic here. That's not bad. And as a little reminder, I need the ceramic to be able to run the liquid hydrogen and oxygen out to the rockets. Right? Without liquid hydrogen and oxygen running out to the rockets, that rocket's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so now we have another pump. And this second, or seventh pump, really is what it is, should speed up the process of pulling gases out of this chamber and making the whole oil biome vacuum. I don't think I actually need a directlet. So the liquid here is, all right, it's 11 tiles wide, and I have about 130 kilograms per tile. So I already have about 1,400 kilograms of liquid hydrogen, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm going to need more than that, obviously. Let me rerun the calculations for the temporal tear. So if I take a look at the telescope here, the temporal tear is way further than I've ever traveled. The temporal tear is at 18,000 or 180,000 rather kilometers. So a distance of 180,000 kilometers on LOX hydrogen with one liquid oxidizer tank and 3 liquid fuel tanks is 2,436. So 2436 kilograms. So this top one should be set to 636. And then the other two at 900. So once I have about 2,436 kilograms of liquid hydrogen and oxygen, I'll know that I can fuel up the rocket for the temporal tear. Basically, I'm going to wait till... So let's round that up to 3,000. So once each of these tiles read about 275... I'll know that I have enough fuel. 275 per 11 squares is enough liquid to get there. In other words. All right, we're back to vacuum now, which is good. We don't have gas in our space area anymore. Checking up on the hydrogen. Yes, indeed, it is quite empty. I think what I'm going to do is a supplementary pump. So what power is this drawing from? This current load is getting close to max. But this one up here isn't. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a gas pump here, which pumps like that. And in order to build this, we're going to need... Actually, let me put it here so I'm not blocked. Because at this point, the gas reservoirs are the bottleneck. What automation? Okay, so here's the automation wires I have. The automation wires are fine. Let me just put in more. And then this one is going to shortcut in here. Actually, I don't know if this is going to be benefiting me in any way, but we will see. And then this pump up here is going to be wired up to a different network than the original pump, so that they're not competing for power or anything like that. Okay, could someone please build that? I really, really hate when they deliver material and then they walk away. Alright, so we'll see how that works. Our oxygen's getting pretty close to the amount that we're going to need. And then the other issue, of course, is just getting it out to the rockets. And that is a really expensive ceramic run. So what that looks like, these three bottom ones obviously are going to contain, this is liquid fuel, so that would be the hydrogen, liquid hydrogen. So this pump here, this line, needs to do something like that. So this is why I needed so much ceramic. It's expensive. And that's also why it should be as close proximity as you can get it. Because if it's not a close proximity, you're going to spend a ridiculous amount of resources getting from point A to point B. Okay, so my hydrogen here is max pressure. So there's a lot of hydrogen just waiting to get cold enough to condense. As far as I could tell, my turbines are just full tilt with haven't needed to stop for a while, which is great. Another thing I could do in the location of the rocket here, this rocket path, is attempt, it might not be all that necessary, but attempt to put as much of this as possible as actual insulation. And I've also prioritized the conveyor rail too, as you may have noticed. Well, there we go. The liquid oxygen's getting pretty close to my minimum fuel threshold. The liquid hydrogen has a little bit more to go, but it's catching up. And the reason for the insulation where the rocket is so that the rocket's outgassing can't heat up what's in the pipes. It wouldn't, like, it wouldn't, even without the insulation, it wouldn't really heat it up much. But I want to completely minimize, if possible. But I also don't really care to collect more resources in order to, you know, do more than what I've already done. Another thing I'm going to need... Can we reach this center one? Yeah, no, the center one is unreachable, so that's going to require a gantry just to build, and then I can break down the gantry. And then likewise, we're gonna need a gantry here for the same reason. Just a construction gantry. Yeah, hydrogen's almost at 200 per square. Oxygen's at 230. Nice. Quite pleased with that progress. Most of the kilns, despite only being priority 7, are firing off. And the gantries are getting built. I don't really need sand. Another question I had is, how is our hydrogen... Oh, okay. Good. So they're not interrupting one another. They're supplementing one another. Because each one can put 500 grams of hydrogen into the tanks. And the pipes max out at 1 kilogram, so you can have 2 pumps feeding. And that's exactly why I had 2 pumps per pipe down here. Same sort of concept is 2 pumps will fill a pipe. Now, I do have 3 pumps on this third pipe, which is why it's slower. But I can fix that. This ridiculous project of pumping out all the gas. We're down to milligrams and micrograms in some places, so it's progressing. I'm surprised this rail at 9, it still hasn't been built. I would have really thought that priority 9 would have been high enough to get that built. And this is only one of the piping plumbing lines that we need. The other one needs to run to the ox tank. So, a lot to be done. Oh, where did this steam come from? Well, that's not cool. I don't know where the steam came from. But clearly there was water that flashed over when it got hot enough. That's okay. You know, I have a bunch of pumps. We'll get it. But yeah, as you can see, the steam. All of this water, for that same reason, I might want to mop this up because it also has the possibility of flashing into steam and then requiring more pumping than I want to pump. Pardon the emergency. Yeah, and it's because essentially what happened here was they there's so little gas in here that it's very easy for it to heat up, and as soon as it heats up, it phase changes very, very quickly. That's kind of a pointless mop right there. That is a lot of oil that you have to mop. Here, let me cancel that. It's fine. I should have gotten all the water out anyway, especially when it was a liquid, not a gas. Because once it's a gas, it takes more effort to move it. All right, so I have a little bit of spare insulation there. Let's use it. Go to plumbing. I'll just put it here. I don't really, it doesn't. It's gonna look a little weird, but I don't really care. All right, the oxygen and hydrogen have nearly hit the mark that I sort of made of a minimum fuel amount in order to blast off, so. Let's see about mopping up, some more of this liquid. So that we don't have to contend with so much steam. Thank you, Dennis. And of course, there is high pressure gas still down here. You know, there's the carbon dioxide, or look at this high pressure sour gas. But as long as I don't tap into that, it's not going to be an issue. And I don't intend to mine there, so it should never really become an issue. It's funny that I've made like a 2-tiered accidental liquid lock. And still, somehow, my conveyor rails still are not made. I don't get it. All right, so the hydrogen and the oxygen have hit the volume that I would need to blast off. The bare minimum volume to hit temporal tear has been met. And the loop required for the liquid hydrogen is almost done. And what I'm going to do is actually set these to 0 and do a test loop. Seeing if the liquid hydrogen will phase change going for one loop of that run. Because if phase changes before it reaches the liquid fuel tank, we have issues, and I would require a lot more insulation. If it does not phase change, we're good. And I just need to pump it. That is kind of a cool effect, all the steam sort of raining everywhere. I mean, it's annoying, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, I wish the steam wasn't here, but it does look cool. And then we're going to have some of that water. As you can see, there's a high pressure steam thing going on in here too. All right, checking in on here. My hydrogen is cooling down even more, as predicted. We just need more ceramic. let me see if there's any other tasks for me to work on. And if not, what I'll do is I'll prioritize those kilns up to 9. Yep. The ever-dreaded 9. But prioritize them up to 9 so that we just get that done quicker. But as you can see, my hydrogen supply here has dwindled considerably. What I can do is disable my hydrogen generators, all of them, to see if natural gas and coal can take the brunt. So I've enabled a 4th natural gas, and I'm going to disable all of the hydrogen, just to see if I can't conserve a little hydrogen. And let's check in on our geysers. So this geyser is dormant, but is active in 25 days. And then this geyser is active and dormant in 25 days, so they're flipping. So there is a source, there's a natural geyser source of hydrogen coming in, and then of course our electrolyzer setup is, you know, ever making hydrogen. Just not a whole lot of it. And we have got... It's crazy that the oxygen enters as 140 and leaves at -60. And this nullifier has no problem keeping up with demand. It drops it drops it by like 200 degrees Fahrenheit or something. And it can run perfectly without interruption. It really is a testament to how powerful your nullifier can be. You know, if fed properly. All right. The ceramic loop, or ceramic and insulation loop for the hydrogen is almost done. Almost done. Very, very close. Just this little leg of it. Let's check on our materials for this. So we have consumable ore, coal, we have no problem, 140 tons of it. And then cultivatable soil, clay, 73 tons of it. So we're not going to run out of materials for our ceramic anytime soon. So that's good. And as you can see, at priority 7, it is now getting proper attention. What I don't understand is the absolute ignoring of this rail. I'm going to, pardon the alert here, but I'm going to top priority this, because I simply don't understand why at 9 no progress has been made. Oh, it's because of one who's many. Because he, okay, yeah, no, I understand now. Because he is a mechatronics, the only qualified mech. That also means, let's look at skills here. So, one of our constructors. Angelia. Who's got an overabundance of morale? Treforza, maybe? Has the least skills? So, Treforza, I'm going to give you mechatronics engineering as well. And let's see if I can't do Mechatron for Storbeck. And for copious free time. Just so that my mechatronics get done more often. Because only having one of my duplicants able to do mechatronics stuff is a bit of a bottleneck. And now I have a bunch that are able. Because that's what was going on. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. Alright, so now that we have that rail, this rail is going to continue to about here. And then it's going to have to switch over from iron to steel. Another thing that I'm going to need is to set up a sort of cooling area for the sweeper here. So we have to decide where my sweeper is going to go. So an auto sweeper of thermium. Let's focus on this regolith here. Actually, that's not really okay. Let me break my telescope down and move it somewhere. I don't know. Move it here. Well, it needs oxygen, so that's going to be kind of annoying if it moves there. All I know is it needs to break down and get moved because I need to get access to this regolith here. That's the giant pile that we've been feeding for ages. All right, so shipping auto sweeper thermium. Even a thermium auto sweeper is going to require it is going to require cooling. And I'm going to do 2 auto sweepers. And conveyor loaders. Well, no, we're really only going to have 1 conveyor rail. So, it's fine. Then the conveyor loaders themselves also should be chilled as well. So here it is. Then this is going to be put in its own metal tile, just like it is up above. And this means that this insulated tile is going to need to be moved because of clearance, height clearance problems. All right, and we'll put in obsidian ladders here, a bottle emptier, and then this coolant is going to be needed to, the coolant line here is going to need to be run here. And we'll put radiant piping like that, and then insulated back down. So these liquid bridges can be destroyed. This does mean that I'll need a pipe emptier a little bit. This old conveyor rail can be broken down. It's actually just in the way. We're going to want a little liquid here, auto-bottled petroleum, to facilitate some chilling. And then we'll have cooled sweeper and loader. Great. Let me be careful what I sweep, because there's like an infinite just about amount to sweep there. All right. The hydrogen and oxygen rather, has easily passed the minimum requirements. I'm just gonna keep adding fuel to it. There's really no reason why I shouldn't, unless I'm running out of hydrogen, which I'm low on hydrogen, but I'm not out. It is pretty clear that without the hydrogen generators, the The rest of the grid is browning out a little bit. But also, a lot of our mechatronics engineers are not tuning up either. So there's alternative explanations as to the lack of power as well. That's a lot of reclaimed steel and stuff. But yeah, right now I'm not aqua tuning my hydrogen because I am actually out of power. But my mech engineers are starting to do tune-ups. So if we're lucky, they'll tune up the nat gas gens and stuff, and we won't be browning out. In fact, we're not browning out right now, but that might be because of the additional solar or something. Oh, stupid me. I need drywalls here, or temp shift plates. I'm going to do drywalls. Because all of the petroleum that I've been putting in there has just been lost to space. Without a back panel. Sorry, petroleum. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, I mean, we're fine. Alright, we're going to do sweep only petroleum for now. Just so that I can sweep this up into it. Who's stressed? Dennis Keith, why are you stressed? Alright, there we go. That's how it's supposed to look. And we'll fill it up a little bit more, and that will facilitate cooling of the auto sweeper and the conveyor loader. The conveyor loader, speaking of which, I'm going to, at this point, switch to steel. Whoops. And that will then drop things into the magma tube. There is going to be a little bit of part of this that is unreachable, so let's go to rocketry and add a gantry to this spot. And we'll get that built. And then you'll see the magma tube. Oh boy, is this ever going to be weird. I cannot wait. Now at this point, we also need to run, the hydrogen line too. Now the hydrogen line is not as temperature sensitive as the oxygen one. Or, sorry, the oxygen line is not as temperature sensitive as the hydrogen one. The opposite of what I just said. I'm going to use insulation bridges here to make the jumps. So it's not as temperature sensitive because oxygen has a much wider acceptable range before it phase changes. I'm obviously not going to have the ceramic for this. But I'll lay it out. So that is the goal. That big old ceramic. Alright, how's the power going now? Am I still... no, my batteries are okay. Even without the engine tune-ups. My hydrogen's looking, bad. Well, we have a lot of liquid hydrogen already. So I may shut off the flow and let my hydrogen supply sort of bounce back. Yeah, that's probably enough petroleum. And let's look at these rails. So these rails is just the remainder of what I'm waiting on. So let's build them as a high priority. And then you'll start to see the magma tube in all of its glory. And the remainder of my hydrogen gas should turn to liquid. And that would be, right there, that would be, what, 11 times 500? So that is 5,500 liquid hydrogen there. Now, all of it, not all of it is going to be pumpable, because obviously the liquid isn't perfectly distributed right underneath the liquid pump. But the majority will be pumpable. And speaking of which, I am going to do a quick condensation test before the end of this episode. So I'm going to pump a little bit of it as a test. So it is in this pipe. It is, let's see, negative 151 or 251.2. And as it travels, it will warm up a little bit. And we're just making sure that it does not warm up critically. Oh, it phase changed. It does make it to the first tank. So another thing is the insulated pipes themselves will cool down as it flows through. We just want to be able to repair these pipes before they rupture. So this phase changes, it evaporates. We might actually want to lower the temperature just a little bit more. To bring it closer. But as you can see, most of the liquid made it through. We had a little bit of phase change and a tiny little break here. But if we chill it a little bit more, if we bring the temperature down a little bit more, we'll be all right. We don't want to reach, so 261, it will turn to ice. So we want to stay away from 261. I'm going to introduce a little bit more gas so that we can chill it. There's actually a little bit of a design flaw where I don't have radiant pipes over the liquid here, which I should have done. So maybe I redesign this and tweak it a little bit more. So what I mean by that is the... why do I even have a... Oh, yeah, I don't even need a bridge there. That these pipes, these radiant pipes, should probably dip into the liquid pool. Now, if I had a lot more liquid hydrogen where the level was like up here, it wouldn't matter as much. But I obviously don't have that. All right, is our rails done? Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to do is show you the run for rails. So let's go to filtration medium, go to regolith, and this bad boy is going to start loading up the regolith cars. We're going to be shipping tons and tons and tons of regolith down to the magma tube. Also, everything back here can now be broken down. I no longer need this auto sweeper anymore. And what I could do is I could have a storage bin here and one here to put regolith that I sweep. So with the hydrogen in liquid state here, I'll be able to do some maintenance, maybe retooling for the radiant pipes. But I'm out of time. So we do probably have enough liquid to do a launch, but I will want to tweak things a little bit more. So I don't think a launch next episode is likely. It's possible, but maybe not all that likely. If you have any feedback for me, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so very much for watching. I'll catch you next episode. Farewell, everybody.